Hey everyone, Luke here. And this week I wanted to talk to you all about my discovery of the freedom of not caring. Ever since I started taking art more seriously a while back, I always had this battle of caring too much. Caring about what people would think, how I look, or even the words I would say or write down. Becoming an artist has taught me to become somewhat more vulnerable and to post, express, and to talk more and more about the things I'm truly passionate about. I felt as though I had come a long way in not caring as much about what people think. But over the past few months, I looked inward and noticed I was spending a lot more time thinking about how to make this next post perfect, how to make the perfect video, the best TikTok, or even how to word an email properly. And this showed me that although I have come so far in my practice, in sharing my world and expressing myself, I was still caring too much about what people thought. And maybe you're like this too. Maybe you spend way more time than you'd like to admit finding the perfect caption for a post, rereading and perfecting an email, or even holding back an opinion in fear of what someone might think. So I decided to try an experiment. In this experiment, I decided to create work, create content, and respond to people as if I was the only audience, as if I was the only one judging. The idea was not to think so much about the other person or other people seeing the content, but more about how I saw the world and the content I was putting out, as if I was the only one who needed the approval. Taking away the fear that I may be wrong or the idea that I may look silly. And what came to me was this sort of freedom I've never really felt before. I was able to create more because I was the only judge, and I wasn't worried about what somebody else thought. I wasn't worried about their approval. I saw more organic comments and conversations with people because I wasn't afraid and I wasn't holding back my view on something, whether I was very educated in it or not. To put in other words, I felt as though when I stopped caring as much about what people thought, it was like becoming looser with your brush. That is, you're still intentional with your direction. You're intentional with the action, but you allowed yourself more happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say. I was more efficient because I was not worried about what anyone else thought. It was more of what I thought, and quite frankly, I can make decisions quite well when it's only me in mind. And I have a feeling you'd be quite the same. In short, I spent less time thinking and more time creating. A big realization I had is that the irony of all of this, the irony of caring too much about what people think, is that we spend so much time trying to impress people we don't even care about, that we don't respect. And then if we don't get their respect, we wonder if we're doing something wrong. We wonder if we're over our heads. We wonder if we should even be doing it to begin with. Now, this isn't to say you shouldn't seek out criticism and professional help when needed, because that's very important to the growth of any craft or practice. In fact, I welcome constructive criticism, feedback, and conversation on difficult topics. But I believe that you should be, to a certain degree, relatively strict on who you share these insights with, as you may be crippling yourself to the mob, as opposed to seeing growth. You see, you may be spending all this time trying to impress somebody who's not well educated in your field of study, who may be emotionally compromised at that moment and may be unleashing it on you, maybe shining a dark cloud over top of you simply because they're having a bad day and they're not thinking about your best interests in mind. And so from all this experiment and seeing the positivity that I've had from it, I've realized that all that really matters is what you think, what your standards are, and whether you think you're doing the right thing or not. All the while willing to be a fool. And you see, willing to be a fool is very important because if you're not willing to make a mistake, if you're not willing to look a little bit silly, if you're not willing to be wrong, nobody can correct you. Nobody who's smarter or well-versed in this particular field will be able to correct you. So hopefully after hearing my experience through all this, maybe you'll be able to try some of it as well. I've been seeing a lot of benefits from it, and I feel as though if you're able to implement some of this into your practice, you may see some truly beneficial change of your own. So I wanted to thank you all for watching this video. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like and put in the comments if this video helped you at all, or if you have any tips or tricks on how to care a little bit less about what other people think. I'd really appreciate it, not only for myself, but I think some other people would appreciate it as well. And please consider subscribing and hitting the little bell notification to get notified as soon as I drop a new video. And I hope you all take care, and thanks again for watching.